with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around for
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to the show. Before we get started, sorry I'm late. I had some things happening I had to take care of real quick. But before we get started, I'm going to give a shout out to everybody who is here, everybody in the place, just to let you guys know. This will be we're starting to get to a point where a lot of the live content that I have will be on My Take on Reality Live and will no longer be available on My Take on Reality. So, with that being said, just make sure you subscribe to My Take on Reality Live, or I think I'll still have you'll have access on My Take on Reality, but a lot of the polls and things like that will only be available on My Take on Reality Live. So if you like participating in the polls, that's where they'll be. All right. Before we get started, let's drop a little bit of music, and then we're going to kick right into it. Thank you.
Could be watching chefs burn pots in the kitchen, or influencers fake fights for attention. Drama queens with crowns, but no conviction. But now you're here, my addiction. Could've clicked that prank, that mukbang feast, or streams of gamers slaying beats. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me where you wanna be, out the algorithm, just you and me. Could be watching cats knock glasses down, or a dude trying to stunt, stressed as a clown. DIY hacks turn smiles to frowns, but you're vibing here, no fakes around sound. This ain't unboxing or ASMR, no clickbait titles, no rented cars. Realest channel in your repertoire. Stay tuned, superstar. But you're here with me, not scrolling free, not lost in streams or reality. You're here with me where you wanna be, out the algorithm, just you and me. Yeah, could be watching chefs burn pots in the kitchen, or influencers fake fights for attention.
Right. Make sure my sound is up, because you know how that goes. We be sitting there chilling. I be talking. Don't nobody be hearing nothing. It's crazy. All right, guys. We're back in full effect. And this again is one of the things that we had talked about over our roundtable last Saturday with the members roundtable. So it was a subject matter I thought was kind of interesting. I thought it deserved its own space in the live, and I want to give my perspective. I'm going to give my perspective. Get my perspective on the situation. Just to go real quick with the poll. The poll said, should DNA tests be mandatory for every child at birth? We really had two winners, three responses out of four. Okay. One had 0%. The 0%, first time I've ever seen this really, was should DNA tests be mandatory at every childbirth? So 0%, no, trust should be enough. Trust me, bro, it's yours. I promise you it's yours. Trust me, bro. So that's 0%. Number 3, coming in at undecided. Like, people just don't know which side of the question to fall on. Of course, number 2 would be 32%, with people saying yes, no exception. Right? Get them DNA. Dana should come into the room and clear up all the foolishness. Like, there should be 0 questions as to who belongs to whom after Dana touches down and ruins everybody's Christmas. And 56% of you said only if requested. Okay. So that's the question. Like, a big question, because I know folks are kicking it around on the internets, the interwebs, asking the question: should DNA be mandatory? Right? And you know what? I'm gonna close this poll out before we move on any further. I'm gonna ask another poll. Let me see. I had another poll geared up too. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Here's another poll. Just curious. Is asking for a DNA test a sign of distrust? Is asking, like, if you just got finished pushing that baby out, your man said, "Baby, you did a wonderful job. You're a warrior. This child is incredible, but I want to make sure he's mine." Is that a sign of automatic distrust, or is it, him just looking out? And we'll get into it. All right. So we start that poll. The answers, of course, that I put up are: is it automatic? Is asking for a DNA test a sign of distrust? Yes, it shows no trust. No, it's just being sure. Depends on the situation, and only in marriage. So let's see what that poll does. All right, so I'll give my little spiel. I have some videos. In fact, you know what? Let's run some clips. Let's run some clips first, and then I'll get into where I am, because there's some people I was able to locate on the TikTok interwebs and the Facebook thing and the and the YouTubers that where people had pretty strong positions and opinions on this. So let's run through it. This first person that I'm going to bring up is a woman who is anti-mandatory DNA testing, and she lays out her reasons, and she even challenges the fellas, people who may or may not support this whole endeavor. She calls those gentlemen out and says, "This is why I believe what I believe." Let's take a listen to what she has to say. And here we go.
Before that a law making mandatory DNA testing at birth is a terrible idea, but men decided they wanted to argue with me, so I'm going to readdress the issue. Mandatory paternity testing at birth is a terrible idea. If you choose to get a paternity test at birth, that's on you. I truly do not care. Mandatory is the key word here. Mandatory DNA testing would mean that every child born into the United States, plus both of their parents, would need to be tested at birth. We
can stop right there. Both parents, I call cap on that. Both parents don't need to be tested. That would just be a waste of resources, and that would be foolish. Okay. It's a red herring at best. If I give her good faith, like, she's just mistaken. Both parents don't have to be tested to see if that's your baby. We know it's hers because it came out of her. Like, there's no question that's her baby. There's zero question that's her baby. So the only person in the room who technically would be unsure is that man who's standing there, or the father, or the male goat zygote donor. That person is the only person in the room that's unsure. So that does not make sense to me, that we have to go back and test both parents. But I'll let her go.
Their parents would need to be tested at birth. We're not seeing why that's a bad idea. One, that's going to lead to the government storing our genetic data. They're not going to take every single American's genetic info and just throw it away.
The government has nothing to do with that. First of all, if you're in a hospital and they take your blood or they run tests, because of HIPAA laws, they're not just allowed to pass that off anytime they want to. So the idea that all of a sudden the government is going to create some kind of storage or database is wholly inaccurate and incorrect. You can run, like for instance, if I go down and I go to the doctor's office and I get a test to see, the only way the government would even get involved if it's something of national security or it becomes a bigger issue like that. Like if I go down to the hospital, they'd be like, oh, this mug got Ebola. Then yeah, the government is going to get involved. They're going to report me to the CDC. They're coming down here and they're testing me, right? If the government technically doesn't give a shit if you the baby daddy or your girlfriend is a THO, you know what I mean? THOT. They don't care. They don't care if she banging out the whole army base. They don't care. Now, if they're trying to do the idea that they would have a separate database for that, that will become a whole separate issue. And in fact, that would have to be legislated. And at some point, that would have to pass federally. So you would have to get Congress to agree to it, both houses of Congress to agree to it, and a president to sign it in order for that to become a bill. So I call cap on that part too.
Way. 2, imagine a man cheats on his wife, God forbid, with a teenager. What do you think he's going to do to her when he realizes she's pregnant and he has to do a DNA test? But we don't care about endangering women or children's lives, right? I know. And 3,
Well, 2, if a man is cheating with anybody, the only way he would be tested is if he's in the delivery room and he's claiming to be the father or she's claiming that he's the father. They just can't randomly go out and start testing people based on the fact that there's a test available. And if that is the concern, technically, if that young lady is pregnant, she could today go to court, say that that guy got me pregnant, and the court would issue an order forcing him to get a DNA test so that they could institute child support. So that's already in play. I don't know, and the idea that, somehow we're going to prevent murder by saying that we're protecting women because a guy might go crazy if he got her pregnant. Shit, wouldn't he do it if he found out he's married and he's so inclined? Wouldn't he do it as soon as she showed up and said, baby, I'm pregnant? That'd be a wrap. That he'd be there buying plastic sheeting and crap. Like what, at the Lowe's with shovels and shit. Because if he's he's that unstable, and I don't think that that's enough of a reason that there might be additional criminality. The fact that he will commit a crime, that's not that somehow we're protecting women and children because we're afraid that this criminal might go out and commit crimes. That's not a thing. But I'm gonna let it go.
And 3, who gonna pay for it? Because the government sure isn't. And I'm not paying to get a DNA test because you too scared to ask your baby mama for a paternity test. The real solution here that a lot of people don't want to hear is to stop having sex with people you don't want to create a family with. I've said before.
I don't disagree with, first of all, to go back to it, who's going to pay for it? I'm going to get into that in my little description. But when it comes down to payment, let's be honest. You're already getting tests done on the baby anyway. Babies don't get born and then they all of a sudden just, okay, looks like everything's good. And they just start handing the baby off. That baby goes through all kinds of testing. So the same way the baby can go through testing, they're doing blood withdrawals and everything else, they can do a DNA test. It's not that difficult. And to be honest with you, as I'll talk about in a little bit, the DNA test actually has a place. It actually has a place in the baby's medical history. And it can be critical and important later on in life for that child if he or she ever gets sick. So, I mean, there's that point. And then when we talk about you shouldn't be having relations with people you don't having a baby with, I 100% agree with that. In fact, I've said on many occasions that if you're sleeping with people, let's be very clear. If you're sleeping with people, the activity in itself is designed to make other people. That's the purpose of the activity. The activity ain't just to blow your hair back so you can have a good time on a Friday, Saturday night. The activity is designed to make other people. That's how we duplicate ourselves. That's hitting the copy button. So yeah, unless you're prepared to hit that copy button with certain only potentially, oh shit, because that eventually could be the result. But again, that has nothing to do with whether, because you could look, you could make love to somebody who you're committed to all day, and that doesn't necessarily mean that when the baby comes out in 9 months, it's yours. Those are two different topics. So I appreciate her attempt to say what she's saying, but it's not the same. Like, I think that her argument falls a little short. There was another person, because I like to get both sides of said argument. So there's another two women who are pro mandatory DNA testing. Let's listen to these young ladies and see what they have to say.
Mandatory DNA testing before signing a birth certificate.
You're motherfucking right.
Yes.
Put that on God record, bitch. Because my thing is, it could save so many families, children, and BDs a whole heap of heartache.
Yep.
Because it makes no sense, and it is also not medically sound to just leave it in the hands of the good Lord on who the real baby daddy is. No, baby, we need it in blood. Huh?
Yep.
Go on, give me your blood.
Uh-huh.
Go on, give me your saliva. Swab that and let us know real motherfucking quick. Because if you've been f***ing who you say you've been f***ing and you f***ing him only, it should be no motherfucking problem.
It shouldn't be no problem.
Because anytime I had a kid, baby, nobody ever asked me for a DNA test, but if they did, here's the baby.
Okay.
Here's the baby.
Take it.
Go. Because there ain't no shame in my motherfucking game. If I don't went to the point where I'm putting myself in the position to possibly get pregnant by a man, it's because I'm him and only him, and we've been in a locked in monogamous.
I got it. Okay.
Monogamous relationship.
Yep.
Baby, I'm not over here just getting knocked up by Tom, Dick, and Jerry.
Okay. Because I feel like if you got to sign up for 18 years, you need a goddamn receipt.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you know, if you sign that birth certificate and that ain't your baby,
You
still
got
got
to
to ante up.
You're still fucking liable. So
Uh-huh.
there was actually a case where a man he was in a relationship with this woman. They had the baby. Baby turned out not to be his.
Mhm.
He signed the birth certificate. They held him liable.
Get your boy. I'm telling
They
you,
held
you better
him
get your motherfucking
liable and responsible for this baby.
boy.
He even went and got another DNA
To
test
prove it.
to prove it wasn't his baby. They still held him liable for child support. Mandatory DNA test.
See, and I didn't stop them as much because, let's be honest, I got a little lost with the beep, 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 beep. I thought I was hearing Morse code the whole time. Like he was going off. I have points taken, though. Like, the one thing I will say, if you have kids, and with your spouse, you don't really think about it, Yeah. I would be surprised if my wife, like if my kids came back. But at the same time, if I ever walked into my wife, because I think at some point, like somebody was having that discussion, would you be offended if I was like, hell no. You want to take them kids down? We go down there all day, because they your kids. So we can put that money on that, do whatever you want to do, because those are your babies, right? I feel comfortable with that. I get a little nervous, and it's just real talk. When I hear people say, why we got to have testing? Why is that a thing? And they come up with like all these crazy ass excuses as to why we can't do it. That make a brother say, you sound a little suspicious. You sound suspicious. Because every time somebody brings it up, all of a sudden you're going crazy. And you're saying like all these dumbass reasons as to why you can't do it, and you're making all these excuses. What about the man on the moon? If the baby don't come back right, then he gonna jump off the moon. Like, what difference does it make? If the baby is his, and you know the baby is his because you know that's the only person you've been messing with, and there's no possibility it's anybody else's. If he wants to go down there for his own peace of mind, why is that a problem? Because when rubber meets the road, it's a little hypocritical when women say, why do you need a DNA test? You don't need a DNA test. I don't need a DNA test. You don't trust me. The thing is that at the end of the day, you know 100%, 100% that that's your baby. There's no question it's your baby. There's zero question it's your baby. But you're asking me to rely on trust that it's yours, that is mine. That's what it is. You're asking me to rely on trust, to trust me, bro. And to be honest with you, especially as of late, I am not a big fan of trust me, bro. I'm in the trust but verify. I like to know. I like to know for sure. But you don't have to know. It's like you saying, accusing me of something. No, I'm not accusing you of anything. You know what I mean? Why can't I know for sure? And then it kind of puts me in a mind too, where some of the people come out and they say things, it looks like you got something to hide. And speaking of which, I have this last video that I want to share with you guys, and then I'm going to give my part, and I'm going to let you guys call in. Again, we're only going to try to do this for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. So we need the calls to be a little shorter. I can run them longer. If we don't have anybody call in, I can run them longer. But if people are calling in, I want to try to get as many calls as possible, so you're forewarned. And if by chance, like I said, I'm going to try to keep it to an hour because I'm trying to increase the rewatchability of the lives. Because when I go to like 2, 3, 4 hours, it really cuts down on people's ability to watch the shows. So I'm really trying to keep it closer to an hour, a little over. So if by chance I don't get to you, I will get to you next time, promise you. But yeah, this is my last video. And I wanted to put her in here so that you guys could see what I'm talking about.
Said that he wanted the DNA test. And it was, why do you want a DNA test? Oh, no, because she cheated on me. That's not my kid. You know that that's your kid. I will never give you a DNA test. That's not going to happen. Because I know, of course not.
But if he's asking for it.
I will not go it. I did my research. I will never, ever give him a DNA test. You will need to take me to court. I will never. Because then that's me justifying your lie.
Hold on. First of all, is anybody else in this position? Anytime I hear somebody say, I did my research, first thing that comes through my mind when I hear that phrase now is bullshit. Because one, most people don't know how to do research. Like going online, listen to a YouTube video is not research. That's not research. Going to Wikipedia. I did my research. I studied the situations. That's not research. Secondly, I would never, ever, ever give him a DNA test. What? Why not? If he has a question, why not put that shit to bed? Why not just put it to bed? And if he has a question as to whether that's his kid or not, obviously he has a reason to question, or he just wants to know. Why not just give it to him?
But also, like giving it. But I don't think it's justifying the lie. I think if you don't trust me about that, here it is. It's like this.
But he knows that this is his. He knows so much that he had reached out to his brother and his.
If he knows so much, why would he be asking for a DNA test? Like, make it make sense. This is one of them situations where people just be talking and shit, and they just saying stuff, and it don't match. It don't match. Like what? That don't match. What are you talking about? Oh, he asked for a DNA test and stuff, but he knows it's his kid. Then why is he asking for a DNA test? Because he knows it's his. Make it make sense.
His brother had contacted me, and his brother was like, "Hey, I've been talking to him. He wants to know if you'll do a DNA test." And I told him, and I even sent him the text messages. He knows that this is his kid. I have everything in text.
No, okay, I see what you mean.
I don't see what you mean. If I what text? How would I be proved? Like, if I had a question about paternity, how is a text message proving that I'm the father? If I have a question about paternity, I don't give a shit what I said. Oh, babe, we having a baby. Yay! I'm so excited to have a child with you. That doesn't mean that I know and accept that I'm the father. That means I'm excited about the prospect of us having a child together. But if I have a question, my questions, do I not matter? Are my feelings not valid? If I'm a part of this relationship and I have a question about the paternity or patronage of my child, I don't have a right to have my fears or my concerns laid to rest or put to ease. It's all about how you feel about it, and your feelings are the only ones that matter. I say to hell with it. I'm swabbing cheeks, and then I'm just going to swab my cheek. And if you don't want to participate, I'm going to go in and get your toothbrush, swab that mug. And if it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. And I'm sending it off, and I'm getting my test. I'm going to get my results. If I'm that deep with it, hell yeah. Especially with her acting like this. Oh yeah, you acting suspicious. You acting suspicious.
What you mean?
I will not get a kid. For what? You look at my kid
like,
now.
oh,
No,
this is it.
no, because you knew.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that this is your kid, even without seeing him.
Yeah.
Anybody else feel like she just gaslighting you? No. You know for a fact that this is your kid. Obviously, I don't if I'm asking for a paternity test.
You know that this is your kid. And then for you to go and say that now, okay, let me see how far I could go with this lie. Let me get her to do a DNA test so then I could tell all of my family I wasn't there and you guys weren't there because I didn't know it was my kid. That is BS.
That don't even make any damn sense. If it's his kid, he go get a paternity test. He gonna run back and tell all his family that I got a paternity test. And guess what, y'all? Is my kid. And then she keep talking about a lie. Oh, there's a lie in that. See, that's a lie. What lie? The only way it would be a lie is if that's not his baby. Again, Spidey sense is going crazy. That shit, my Spidey sense is going crazy. Homeboy, you need a damn test.
A lie.
Yeah, but I also feel like it's like, you think it's a lie?
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Then let's, it's not, you don't think it's yours, let's just do it then.
Pedro, all I have to do is show you my kid.
And I don't trust that bullshit either. All I gotta do is show you my kid. If I show you my son, he looks just like you. Bullshit. No, we don't do that. Look at him. He got your eyes. Look, he got eyebrows just like you. He got 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, a nose, 2 ears, a mouth. He look just like you. No, he just looks like a human being, especially at a baby. Babies don't look like nobody. Like, look, babies don't look like anybody.
See my kid, and my kid looks identical to you.
I know.
And then he wanted me to do a DNA test while I was pregnant. You can't do that. Only one with blood. And why would I go and put the effort into it when I know that he's lying and he knows that he's lying?
But then he could.
How is he lying? I don't understand he's lying. Now, the one thing I will say is that I don't really approve of DNA testing, prenatal DNA testing. I think that that's a waste of time because not only do I think it's a waste of time, it's dangerous because the only way that they can test a baby in vitro in the womb is if they pierce they go through her stomach, they pierce the amniotic sac in order to get to the baby so that they can test the baby. Right? I think that that's too much. I think that's too dangerous. I think that's too invasive. I think that like you will find out in a couple weeks or a few months if that's your baby. You can wait and then you can swab that baby's cheek while they in there. Because look, if anybody ever been in a room, I've been in a room when the baby was born. I was over there by the table. I mad dogged them people. I was on their shoulders. When my kids came out, I was in the delivery room. I was a part of it. I was there. Push, wow, push, push. I was doing all that shit. Girl, you doing wonderful. You're amazing. You superwoman. Please let my hand go. You're crushing the shit out of it. I think I can't feel my toes. Like, you know what I mean? I was there for the whole 9. I was there. I caught the baby. All the shit. I was there for the whole thing. When they took the baby over to the other table, they weigh it and they swabbing them and they cleaning them up and they putting the stuff in places and they putting the you know what I mean, the Q-tips and cleaning all that stuff. I was there watching all of that. And as soon as they do all that, they swaddle the baby up and they be like, here you go, pshaw. You know, I was that first one taken from Doc. Thank you, Doc. I was the first receiver on both my kids. First receiver. To this day, I tell my kids, I was the first one to hold you. To this day, I held you before your mama held you, right? Because I'm an asshole, and I'm proud of that fact. Like, I'm the first one to held you, baby, right? Because I was proud. You know what I mean? I handed them over right away, but I was in the house, and I'm telling you, they do all kinds of stuff on that table. So for them to be able to just swab a child, ain't nothing for them to do that. You know, she's just refusing to give a DNA test. And me thinks she doth protest too damn much. That's what I think. You know what I mean? And I don't understand. Again, I don't understand what is he lying about, because he's saying that I'm not sure. I would just like to get a DNA test. See, you a liar. See right there? You a liar. A liar about what? What are we talking about? You maniac? But let's let her finish.
Say, well, you know.
Okay, she's done. All right. Just pull that out. I mean, but that's what we dealing with. All right. So let me run through my little bit of stuff. And then matter of fact, let me post the link before we get into it. So I can, as soon as I get done, we can just call you guys right up. Just some things I was thinking about. And again, like some of this stuff I talked about on Saturday. And I realized that I have a perspective and I have a consideration that a lot of people don't necessarily take into consideration. So I want to give that perspective as well, because it seems like a lot of the argument to me is very limited. Put it in here too. All right. So here we go. Before we get started, let me just do the super chat. We had a super chat from Elizabeth's mama with the $1.99 super chat. Said drug test at birth mandatory. Drug test at birth mandatory in my state. See, they're already doing tests. Like I said, thank you, Elizabeth's mama. See, she's saying they already doing tests. So if they can do a drug test, they damn sure can do a DNA collection test. So again, maybe they don't want to create ruckuses at the hospital, because some people gonna be in their feelings. Spend all your money buying baby clothes and baby showers, and you at the hospital all excited, and got you in there looking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Got you in there looking stupid. Yeah, that's my baby right there. And then all of a sudden, the DNA.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
You know what I mean? And not your baby. No. And you in there passing out cigars, talking about you the proud pop. Look how cute he is, man. He gonna be a player.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
You know what I mean? Y'all played yourself. So yeah, it's gonna be it could be some smoke in there. That's why I think some of these folks are kind of scared, because they won't be held accountable. But let's go to Elizabeth's mama. It'll give you a little something. All right, thank you. Yeah. So here's my thing. What problem, I guess when we look at it, we have to analyze it all the way through. What problems are we trying to solve by making DNA tests mandatory? Are we just reacting to like the internet hype and fear? Or is this like a real issue? Like, is this a real problem? Something that really affects a lot of folks? So I guess the question is, if it reportedly, and it's kind of a reported thing, self-report thing. So I'm a little sketchy about the numbers. I'm not really, these are the numbers. But reportedly, about 30% of the tests that are sent into get like DNA tests that are sent in to establish paternity for fathers who have questions, 30% of those tests come back negative, meaning that they are not the fathers. These are men who think that they're fathers and they're not the dads. And that's 30%. That's a lot. That's a lot of folks. Okay. And so we got to ask the question, is this about rare but extreme harm? Or is this a bigger, wider spread issue? Now, I think that if it's a widespread issue, that's obviously a problem. But at the same time, if it's a thing where, it only affects so many people, but when it does, it's completely devastating. I think it at that point, it also rises to the level where we actually should take a look at it. There's also the point of was it trust versus verification? When we start talking about it, is this just about like you want to trust your wife, you want to trust your partner, and you want to believe them, and you don't want there to be any questions, you don't want there to be any doubt. The ladies, after they go through the trauma of delivering a child, carrying a child, then delivering a child to be questioned, that too can be devastating, and I recognize that fact. But then, of course, you get verification, like trust but verify. And the big question is, does trust mean you never get to question? You never get to ask the question. Like if your son is looking like, he looks a lot like my friend. He looks like my buddy. You know what I mean? He look like Uncle Joe. Like maybe it's just strong genes in the family, but maybe not, because they was kind of tight a few times. Like, trust but verify. There's a point too where the woman who I played last, she said, well, you could just look at him and see that he's yours. You could look at him and see that he's yours. Right? And the reason why I said bullshit to that, because if you have a type, right? If you're the type of person who typically goes out with the same type of people, you like tall guys, dark guys, light guys, white guys, black guys, whatever the case may be, and you have a type, there's a good possibility that the kids will look like somebody that you date. It's not a thing where like 1 minute, if you're a kind of person, there are people like that, that you just date everybody and it doesn't matter. Big, tall, short, small, white, fat, black, you don't give a shit. Like, hey, you running past the door, hey, what you doing? Right? If you're that person, then maybe you could sit there and start doing the Folgers taste test. Like, oh yeah, this is what it looked like, this is what it is. Then maybe you could do that. He looks like you. But if your last boyfriend, your last 3 boyfriends could be in a commercial together, right? Or they fit the same general description, you can't use that, oh, they look alike, or he looked just like you bullshit. That baby looked like all 3 of your last boyfriends. So what are you talking about? So that's why I say the trust versus verify. And there's the big point, like I said before, is asking for a DNA test the equivalent of an accusation. Are you accusing them of something by simply asking for a DNA test, asking for that verification? That's something where it gets really sensitive. And then there's the big question. This was actually brought out by one of the members. I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but what if nobody wants to know? Right? Because that could be a thing too. Like you could have a father who knows that, maybe or maybe not, this is not his child, but he doesn't want to get verification that the baby is his or isn't his. He's willing to walk into that relationship blindfolded. And how would that affect like a mandatory testing? In my opinion, I think if you opt out, then that's your business. If you opt out, I think you could opt out, or you could opt out of not knowing. So they could make a record of it. It could be attached to the child's medical history, and you could opt out of knowing. Right? And we'll circle back to the whole medical history thing. There's also the part where we have to talk about, and I think this is where the argument centralizes. We have to talk about who's harmed in this situation. When we don't know who the father is, or we're not sure, or there's a question, or we believe one person's the dad and it turns out somebody else is the dad, who's harmed in that situation? First and foremost, the child is harmed in that situation, because the child, like, heritage is so important in many cases, to know where you came from, to know where your people are from. Like, it's one thing if you grow up, it's almost, in my mind, and maybe somebody can call in and correct me on this, give me some more insight, have me think about it. But as it flashes through my mind, it seems to me that it's more damaging to a child to think that a person is their parent, only to discover later on that that person is not their parent. Right? Especially on the tail of like there being a medical emergency, or they go and do like the ancestry.com thing and be like, what? You're not my what? And it comes back wrong. Right? As opposed to a child being told from the beginning, you were adopted, this is what it is, etc., etc., and you know where you are. So there's no deception there. Like, you're not fooled, you're not discovering later on. The second person, or in this particular situation, who's harmed, without question, and usually advocates of this thing tend to point this person out. And that's the father who was tricked, or the father who believed that he was, in fact, the father, and it turns out he isn't. That person is harmed and damaged. And I can't tell you, like, as a dad, I'm saying, like, I am telling you, if you're a dad, especially if you really dialed into your kids and you're excited, you're there the whole time, like they're pregnant, and you like, I did everything. Like, I'm looking at myself, I'm thinking of from my perspective. When I found out my wife was pregnant, I was excited. I was the first one running around buying stuff. We would go to the store together, we would pick stuff out. We were, clothes, and you're always constantly thinking about like what you're going to do as far as the nursery and all those things, right? All throughout the pregnancy. There wasn't a doctor's appointment I didn't attend. I attended every doctor's appointment. I attended the ultrasounds. If there was an issue, I went. When she was pregnant, she had labor pains, like intense labor pains. We went to the hospital. We came back. They sent us out like, oh, she's not ready yet, going home. We came back. I sat, I told her, go to bed, go to sleep. I sat in a chair waiting. I didn't sleep for like 2 days. And then I drove her to the hospital. I sat there. We did the whole thing. Ran errands, came back, did everything I had to do. I packed her bag, made sure her bag and stuff was packed. I was excited about it. Right. The baby came, like I said, to this day, I tell my kids, I'm the first one who held you, yo. That, like, it was me, it was daddy. I'm the one that caught your ass. Then I'll cut the cord like a ninja. And then, I gave you to the doctor. Doctor took you over to the table, did they thing. Then they brought, they hand them off, handed you right back to me. I held you for a little bit, and then I gave you to your mom. It was a big deal. Right. And then you go through all that, you develop that bond with that child, only to find out that that child isn't yours. And it's not like you can just shut those feelings off because, oh, this isn't your baby because biologically it's not yours. And your wife will Scott Scallywag. Oh, okay. Let me turn that off then. Those feelings, those emotions, that investment I made. Let me just turn that off. No, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. Right. So I think that that's something that, and that goes beyond, like, because a lot of times people focus on the monetary part of it. Like, oh, you going to pay child support, you going to be financially responsible. I care about the money, but I don't give a shit about the money. In retrospect, like if you said that, like, James, you could have all the money in the world and you could have this experience. I don't want the money. I don't need the money. I'd rather have the experience. So the money doesn't mean, like, the money would hurt. Like, looking at like that would just be one more thing. But that wouldn't be the end all be all of things that bother me. That wouldn't even be the first or fifth thing in that list that would bother me, the money that I invested. So the child and the father are always accounted. The one person that nobody ever talks about, and this is something that I thought about when I was a very young man, and that's the actual biological father. Because you have a person out there who doesn't even know potentially that they have a child. They're walking around doing what they need to do, hanging out, chilling, living their life, and they don't know that they have a child out there. And I'm not a prude. I'm not facetious. I'm not a liar. I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. I was not a virgin when I got married. Right? I was not a virgin when I got married. So if I had a child outside of prior to me getting married, and I didn't know about it, I can't tell you how angry I would be if I was, sitting here in my house with my wife and somebody came knocking on my door and said, ask for me. Hello, are you James? Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm your son. I can't tell you how furious I would be. Furious. And I'm not mad at the child because it's not the child's fault, but I'm damn sure mad at his mama. I'm damn sure mad at his mama because that child has missed significant parts of my life. I've missed significant parts of their life. I didn't have the opportunity to contribute to that child. I didn't have an opportunity for that child to participate or partake in me as a younger person. You catching up with me as an adult, and I'm an adult. I'm older now. I'm slower now. You know what I mean? I don't move like I used to. I want you to have the best of me when it was time for me to be there for you. So I would be angry. There's also things that, like I said on Saturday, there's things that you miss. Like, for instance, my mother is not around anymore. And it would break my heart if I had a child. Like, I'm actually a little sensitive to the fact that my kids didn't, like, my mother passed away when my kids were relatively young, and they didn't get to fully experience her, and she didn't get to fully experience them. So if I had a child before that, that child never would even know my mother. There's family members that child would never know. There's family members that have passed away. When we would go to family reunions, they would never have met those people. And those people could have had a positive impact in that child's life. And that could have informed that child not only who I am, but who they are. And so when we talk about this, like I said, a lot of times we're so focused on the effects of the child, and we're so focused on the effects of the monetary damage to the father who is deceived. But we very rarely, if ever, and in most cases, I've never heard anybody talk about the actual biological father who missed out on this opportunity and missed out on that child's life. So much of this conversation is centered around the monetary aspect of it. But to me, I think that the fact that you're having a child is deeper than just the money part. It's deeper than that. It's the experience. It's the life lessons that you could have passed on to that child. There's things that I would love to tell and share with my kids, that I want my kids to understand about me, about the family, about what I like to think of as my family legacy and my family dynasty. Like, I don't have $1 billion. I don't have ranches and mansions and big businesses. The only thing I do have is my character. I have my esteem. I have my positions, my priorities, and my principles. And those principles and character are things that I want to pass down to my kids. And I want them to have those things too. I want them to see that as part of their family legacy. And if somebody disappeared or blamed somebody else because they thought that person was better situated, or maybe they liked the way he swing it better, or whatever the case may be, and I missed that opportunity, I am pissed. So we a lot of times overlook the biological father. We can get into the legal aspect. In certain jurisdictions, paternity cannot be questioned if it's in the confines of a marriage. We're just going to throw that out there. So even whether you get to test or not, and it's mandatory or not, in certain jurisdictions, if you married, that's your baby. Hey, she freaking dicka licka rika. She out there tearing up the town, and that's your baby. So you just got a receipt. But I had a vasectomy. Don't matter. It's your baby, right? And sometimes there's a ways you can get around it. But even speaking of legal chaos, if a man finds himself in a position where he presents himself as the child's father, or the child believes that he's the father, has reason to believe that he's the father, he spends an exorbitant amount of time. As soon as the baby started talking, let's put it this way. If you have a baby and the baby started talking, and the first word, dad, and he point to you, and he say, the stranger standing there, be like, am I dad? No, dad, and he point to your ass, you the father. And in which case, when you get to court, the first principle in family court is best interest of the child, not how mama feel about it and whether daddy can afford it. Best interest of the child. And in most jurisdictions, they've ruled that it's always in the best interest of the child that they be taken care of, which means if the baby believe you daddy and you've been taking care of the baby and you never asked the question before and never got the test before to figure it out, you're the father. So this is something that, if there was mandatory testing, that would be something that potentially could be eliminated. Now, lastly, I want to talk about like the practicality, because even one of the video people talked about, well, who's going to pay for it? And like I said during the course of my commentary during that video, when we ask the question, who's going to pay for it? Hospitals run tests for everything else anyway. It's not like they don't test the baby or poke and prod that. They poke and prod that baby the entire time that baby is there, right? That baby is giving more blood than a little bit, okay? That baby need a break from all the tests they running on that baby, right? And at the end of the day, for me, I think that a fundamental reason for testing parenting isn't just trying to embarrass somebody and humiliate somebody and figure out who's cheating. It's also important for that child to know where they come from as far as their medical history. Their medical history is critical. Who can donate? Like if that child needs a donor and the mom's not available or she's not a match, then perhaps the father could be a match. Maybe his kids and the child's siblings from that father could be a match. But if you go years and years and years and you think that this person is the father and it turns out there's a medical emergency and you have to do something immediately and you think that you're the father, you show up like, I'll donate blood, or if it's not me, or I'll give a kidney or whatever the case may be, part of my liver or marrow or whatever this child needs, blood, I could give blood. And your kids are standing there like, me too. What? Dad, we'll do it for our brother or sister. They need our help. And then all y'all go back and get tested. They be like, first of all, you're not the father. So none of y'all are a match for her or him. That's a hard time to find out that you've been, one, fooled, two, this ain't your baby. And three, there's nothing, because you have that bond, there's nothing you can do to help them. And so there's a possibility we could eliminate some of that as well. But that's my little perspective. So if you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome. We still got some time. We got some time. We had some super chats. Brittany Not Brittany with the $9.99 super chat. Said, pre-marriage, I would have been salty if my husband asked for a DNA test. Yeah. Most people would. But it wouldn't have been a deal breaker. If he asked now, I'd do it, but there would be no coming back from it. So he can't even ask for the test. Come on, baby, let's get this test. Brittany Not playing around. But I will say this. If let me give Brittany Not a little something. If that's the case and we're going to put it on equal footing, would it be okay? Because it doesn't matter if the guy knows, right? Because he don't need to know. Would it be fair if when the baby came out, they just, the baby comes out and before anybody could see it, they just sweep it out of the room, take it to the nursery, clean her up, then get her ready, and you could go into the nursery and try to pick them out. And they say, yeah, this, and they give you a baby, be like, this is yours. Trust me, bro. That way everybody get to be surprised. Right? Everybody get to be surprised. They call it baby roulette. You know what I mean? Because that's really what you're asking. Like, you're asking them to do the same thing. Because he doesn't know for sure. Like, why do women get to know for sure? We should all be questioning it. We should, when the baby start doing, crazy stuff when they get older, and you be like, who the hell kid is that? That's your baby. That's your side. And then maybe both of y'all be sitting there like, they gave us the wrong damn baby. Because we don't know. Right? Because you guys are in a better position than we are. Jody Pierce Scholar with the $9.99 super chat said, my brother had a DNA test for my niece. He was a deadbeat. I got to meet her when she was 19. Wow. It was up to him. He doesn't care about her. She is so happy. I wanted her. Yeah, you know what? And that's kind of the thing too. Because quiet is kept. Let me give Jody Pierce Scholar a little something. Thank you so much, Jody. That's kind of the thing too, is that at the end of the day, DNA tests don't equate to fiscal responsibility. Just because they know for sure don't mean they're going to pay for sure. Let me say that one more time. Just because they know for sure that this is their baby don't mean that they're going to pay for sure. So I think that they have to always be ready for that part of it too. Monster free, what's going on? But that's just the way it works. So, I mean, you could find out who the baby belongs to and if the baby's yours and what the case may be. But at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to step up. It's almost like, the equivalent to that would be having a baby to save a relationship or getting married to save a relationship. Those things rarely, if ever, work, meaning never work. Having babies to save relationships only dooms a relationship, in my opinion, because kids are hard. And as much as I, like I said, I adore my kids, children are hard. They're hard on relationships. If it's just the two of you, you guys can get up when you want. You can go to sleep when you want. You can spend your money on yourselves. It's a good time, right? It's a good time. You can walk around, knock it. You know what I mean? Do what you want to do. It's a good time. But when you have babies, now all of a sudden there are other considerations, and then there's points where you're going to have disagreements, points where you have struggles, struggles on how much you're spending on them, how much you're not spending on them, how you discipline them, what you allow them to do, what you feel comfortable with them doing. Sometimes one parent feels comfortable with them going away or spending the night at somebody's house or hanging out with this person or going to the park. Other parent doesn't. And it could become complicated, and it could be trying when the baby is not going to sleep and, wearing your ass out, because kids will do that shit too. They will. This is the fun part of parenting that nobody ever talks about. Kids will wear your ass out. You know, like, why do you cry all day? This is why I'm a big fan. Like when my kids were coming up, I was big on setting up a set schedule. I had my kids on a schedule, Jack. They get up, like feeding times, as far as like nap times, like we were playing stuff, and then nap time, put them down for their nap. The nap time for me was critical. I can't express this shit enough. Nap time for me was so critical because when I put them babies down for nap, it was to give them an opportunity to recharge their batteries, get the rest that they need so that they can grow and be healthy. For me, it was a mental health break. So bedtimes, like taking that time to like, okay, they taking this nap. Now I can focus on me. You know, if you that kind of person and you emotional or you having one of them kind of days, that nap time might be a time when you would just want to sit in the corner and cry your ass off. Right? It might be, it might be a tearful, hour or so. Then you get the baby up, do what you got to do. And then you look forward to, like, I had a specified bedtime. Like my kids had bedtimes. So that way I knew I knew I had to do was I had to make it to nap, get them through nap and get through the rest of the afternoon, get them through dinner. Then I can get them in bed. And then I was free to do whatever I wanted to do that I wanted to get done. Right. Take care of work or whatever the case may be. And for me, that worked. Right. Because I was building in breaks for myself. But you have to, like, I think it's things like that you have to build in order to make it's kind of sane washing your situation. And there's Jody Perry Scholar. I think she said this before. She said, I decided kids were not for me, too mentally stressful. Here's the thing. I respect people because as much as I enjoy my kids, I've always respected people. I've known people who have said that they didn't want any children. And what's ironic to me is that you always seem to have people who will criticize folks who say, look, I don't want any children. Even when they get married, like, we're going to get married. We don't want kids. We've already decided. Oh, why would you decide that? You're going to change your mind. You got to have kids. Got to do it. I respect people who say, I don't want to do it. Knowing yourself is critical. 1, 2, it's such a commitment. It's such a undertaking. It's so stressful and strenuous that if you're not committed to doing it, you should not. This isn't something you freaking try, because there's no receipt and there's no return policy on this shit, right? You can't take a kid back. Yeah, I didn't like the way it fit. It's a little tight in the britches. Like, that's not how the shit works. So if you commit to having a child, that's your child. That's it. You know what I mean? That's your child. You either do it, you try to put it up, or you go into prison because you're not paying attention to it and doing the right thing. Like, it's too much. So I've always respected people who say, you know what? This isn't for me, or I don't have the facility to do it. I don't feel like I'm mentally or financially ready to do it. I just don't want to do it. I've always respected people who made that decision. What I don't respect is people who try to shit and just do a terrible job at it. I mean, these are the people who, like, have a baby and then, like, leave the kid in the house and go on cruises. Like, we've seen that shit before. Like, yeah, a woman had a baby, like a 10-month-old or something, and she left the baby in the house while she went on a 2-week cruise. Put her ass in prison. Put her under. You know what? I wouldn't even put her in prison. I would put her in a place. I'd build a prison around her, and then I'd throw that prison away and keep the key. Because they always say, "Oh, I throw her in jail and keep, put her in jail and throw away the key." I throw the jail away. I throw the damn jail away. Nobody will be fine in this jail. Drop her ass off on the island. Figure it out. I mean, just like you told that baby to figure it out. Drop your ass on a deserted island, surrounded by sharks. Figure it out. You can dip your chunky ass in that water and get out of here. Good luck. But for the rest of your days, you're probably gonna be on that island eating fish or snails or whatever the hell you can catch, right? But that's ridiculous. So I'd rather people just say, you know what, it's not for me, and I'm not gonna do it. You know. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have hit our hour. And like I said, I was gonna bring some callers up, but nobody called in. So that's fair. But that's what I have. I mean, all in all, I don't know if mandatory testing is the solution. I do think that if somebody has a question, just give them the answer. That's my approach. Just give them the damn answer. If they have a question and you know for sure, like like Brittany, not Brittany, she's like, oh, mom, we couldn't come back from that. You know for sure that you ain't been messing with nobody else. Your man feel like he need that peace of mind. Just give him the damn peace of mind. You know what I mean? Then just hold it over him for the next 20 years. Remember when you asked me for that test, sucker? You know what I mean? Y'all being old folks home ain't two teeth between the two of you. Remember when you asked me for that test, sucker? You go ahead and give me your cheesecake. You know what I mean? That's how you do it. Good marriages are built on grudges. You don't know? Strong marriages are built on grudges and keep it score. Remember that time back in 1995 when you wanted to play the food? Girl, why don't you let that go? I ain't never letting that go. You some of us so and so. You know. Oh yeah, just give it to him now. Yeah, I mean, people have, like I said, people have stuff going on. What was this? The state of Wisconsin had my ex's DNA from his first baby. I didn't sign the consent for the state to test my baby. What the shit? What's going on? I might have to go back and read some more of this. Wait, one second. Because Wisconsin acknowledged my husband as the adopted father, the amended birth certificate is accepted by the federal government as well. My son used my husband for his financial aid reporting. Okay, so yeah, FAFSA. Oh, FAFSA. I'm back in the FAFSA game too. That's some bullshit. My husband. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, like I said, the DNA test would just be, yeah, the DNA test doesn't. I agree with something Mama Celeste said. The DNA test biological doesn't necessarily mean good father. That doesn't necessarily translate. But even on the state level, because even thinking about like the Browns and the polygamous families and the people in Utah, the parenting or parentage and DNA tests for them, I could see them opposing it because those men would be on the hook for that money. Because in a lot of states, there is a requirement that if the state finds out that you have children and those children are on state funded programs like SNAP, WIC, medical, whatever they're in, they can turn around and they could charge that back to the fathers. So if the state is paying for it, using tax dollars, some states have taken a position that, well, we're paying because the father don't want to. So when a father get his tax return back, it's usually an empty ass envelope because the state's like, oh, nope, that's our money. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. It's Kathy Ferran, she called it. You know what I mean? The state is like,
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
because could you imagine you get your tax return, especially if you got kids and maybe you got some other deductions like you own a house or business or you have write-offs and stuff, and you get a tax return. I haven't seen one of these in a while. You get a tax return and it's like, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. Woo, the government went ham on your checks and you getting it all back, right? And you get that IRS check, you get excited when you go down to your accountant or you go to your tax preparer and they fill that paperwork out and they that clickety clacking on the computer, click, and they ask you questions and shit. You tell them, yeah, I got 5 kids, blah, 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 click. Oh, that's a deduction, click. And then you get the paper and they get the final thing and they print it out and they be like, oh, this is gonna be your return, $9,568. And you like, woo, wait, I'm gonna do some fly shit. When I get my check, you can start planning in your head what you're gonna do with that check. You send that joint off, you pay that dude that you probably pay him like $100, $200, right? For preparing your taxes. That's money well spent because you getting about 9 bands back in the mail, son. As soon as the government get it and then run it through the system, oh baby. And then all of a sudden, that damn IRS check hit your door, you see the envelope. We all know what the IRS tax return envelope look like. That envelope hit your door, you rip that bad boy open, and your ass standing there like,
Hold up. Wait a minute.
because your shit short as a 4th grader standing in a ditch. Okay? You like, what the hell? This, first of all, this ain't a check paper. This paper is white from the IRS. And when the IRS sends you a white paper, that's a letter. That is not a check. That is not a check, right? And you start reading that letter, and they say, due to your parenting of your lack of contribution for funds or whatever the hell, however they phrase. I never got one of these letters, but I know they do send them. How you didn't participate in the paying for this child, which is biologically yours. We're going to deduct and hold your return or refund. Thanks for kicking in. All I can say is your ass is gonna break down crying and sit on the curb and be like,
Emotional damage.
you are messed up for a while. Okay? Because you watching all them pipe dreams, all the bullshit you was planning on buying just float away. Float on. Right? Gone. And when it comes to that, like, look, the government, I'm gonna say this about the government. I hope the government don't get offended. Uncle Sam, I'm not talking shit about you. Love you, Uncle Sam. Please don't mess with my money. The one thing I say about the IRS and the government, they are very good about taking your money. And they are dog shit about giving you your money back. Once they got your money, baby, it is so hard for you to go to them and be like, y'all made a mistake. You need to give me my money back, because they will fight you with everything they got in them. Right? That shit. If they deduct your money, good luck. That money's gone. Right? That reminds me of I forget the football player's name. Football player went over to Russia and he just won the Super Bowl. And he was sitting there with Vladimir Putin. And Putin was looking at that big ass, diamond ass Super Bowl ring, big chunky ass rings. He's looking at it. He said, that's nice. And let me see. Let me try that on. The guy gave him his ring. Putin put that shit on his finger. It's like, oh, I like this. He got up, walked away from the table, and then he left the room. And the football player went to get up to go chase him, be like, yo, my ring. And the bodyguard was like, nah, man. He got it. It's over. You just got robbed, dude. You got ganked. That's how it is with the government. Like, you just got ganked. There ain't shit you can do about it. You just got to eat it. Right? They take your money. You just got to eat that shit. That hurts. So, yeah, these guys are not trying to do no mandatory DNA testing. They showing up to the hospital talking about I'm the father. And the hospital's like, oh, and then they get the test on them. And then all of a sudden, they get their tax return because you know they mamas, like they 5 baby mamas up on child support, SNAP and shit anyway, getting food stamps and collecting the toll from the government checks. They ain't trying to no. So Utah might actually secede from the nation, secede from the union if they pass mandatory mandatory drug tests or mandatory DNA tests. And they probably people in here watching from the AUB pissed at me now. Change, you asshole. Would you be able to tell them the truth? You tell them the truth on us. Because I'm telling you, Cody would have got wrecked. And this before, especially before the show. You sitting there with 13 kids, working a minimum wage job at best, like maybe a little better than minimum wage, you are getting wrecked. Oh, the IRS is going, man, they're going to have fun with you. Oh, they're going to have fun with you. It's going to be terrible. You know, they're going to be singing songs about your ass up in the mountains. You know, I'm telling you, it's going to be terrible. You know, there once was a guy who was down in the valley getting thought he was the man because he's getting all the tally. Then he turned around. The government came. They took his ass and he never the same. They call him, whoa, Cody. Whoa, Cody. Watch your back there, son. Because when the IRS comes, you better take off and run because they're going to take all your money. And the damn shit won't be funny. I'm telling you, they're going to have songs about Cody's ass. They'd have fucking swabbed his cheeks. My man would have been in trouble. First, they would have swabbed your cheeks and they would have clapped your cheeks. Okay? For those who know, no. And yes, I just did that whole song impromptu. So I apologize for that. So yeah, it would have been terrible. It would have been terrible. But yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. Let me know what you think. If you're on part of the watch back crew, the rewatch crew, go ahead and leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, what your perspective is. Let's run through the polls real quick. The poll survey says is asking for a DNA test a sign of distrust. Woo, this is a little split. 0% of you said only in marriage. Okay. I guess Brittany didn't answer that one because she was like, only in marriage is a sign of distrust. Third, we have yes, it shows no trust. That's 25%. No, it's just being sure. That's 28%. And 47% of you said depends on the situation. I guess it depends on your relationship. Depends on who you with. Like I said, my wife, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. And the fact that she's so cavalier about not caring, that made me not want to ask either. Never really press it. Because she doesn't, you know. Like she put me in a feeling like this is a damn waste of damn money. She's too confident. She's too damn confident. Go ahead and get the test. Go ahead and do it. You want to get a test? No. Get the test. I will drive you. Let's get the test. And then, like I said, you know, I was telling Brittany, I'll be carrying that shit for the rest of my life. You know, remember when you had me get that test? Remember that? You was questioning me. Remember, James? Being old folks home and shit, can't even eat my pudding and enjoy it and shit without hearing that. You need to slide that pudding over this way, Mr. I need a test to be sure. Like, damn, woman, I can't even get past it. I heard you, Brittany. She said, I said it depends. Yeah, you know. And again, I get what the one last lady said. You know, you got to be careful. Because even as we were talking about like cheating and stuff, when people are stepping out of relationships, this is one of the things that, you know, we're talking about like the viability of people cheating in relationships. This is one of the things that, you know, you have to deal with. If you're stepping outside of your relationship, there's a possibility you might bring home a receipt of your infidelity. Because again, this is an activity that's sole purpose is to make other people. That's what it's designed to do, right? Everything else is awesome and it's fun, but the purpose of it is to make other people. But we got a call. Brittany, not Brittany, what's going on? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I had my phone connected to the Bluetooth. My Bluetooth don't work, so I didn't get anything. Okay. I just want to add it. I just wanted to add some context to like my response for why I say like it really just depends.
Okay.
So like for me and my husband, you know, he had before me all kinds of like issues with like unfaithfulness in previous relationships. And we came a long way as far as the trust that he and I have together. So back, of course, like when we were dating, or like maybe when we first got engaged, if he had brought up that he wanted it, like I said, I'd be salty, but I'd be like, okay, all right, this is for you, for your comfort.
Right.
But part of us getting married was like, you trust me fully, complete. There's no doubt about it. So now if he were to ask me, it would be a problem, because then it's just like, what did we go through all these last years, you know, working through this and making sure that we're both secure in our relationship for you to ask this now.
Right.
Would it necessarily be a deal breaker, like that's it, we're done? I don't know. I really can't say right now. Thinking about it right now, it makes me mad. I'd be like, no, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But that's my baby, so I'm sure I would figure out how to like get past it.
Well, I would just say, you know, in that thing, I wouldn't take it personally. It's not a question of you, it's just his insecurity that he has to deal with.
Yes.
And it's not reflective on you. Because if you know, you're not doing shit, you're not doing shit. Like, bro,
Right.
I'll go down
Right.
all day. Like
So
that's the whole thing. My wife said, I'll go with you all day.
You're
You know
like,
what I
it's
mean?
fine. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. It's just that for us, it would
Right.
be saying something about how he feels about
you.
this. So
Yeah.
it would be hard to take
Right.
for a moment. But you know, like I said, you know, that's my man, and I'm staying beside him.
Right. I'm gonna stay with this. Yeah, I
So,
guess I'm gonna go ahead and claim him.
right, like
Yeah. But
that's mine.
I can see the situation, because like from your respect, what you're saying is you guys had challenges where he was distrustful, and
Mhm.
you thought you got to a certain plateau or a certain point beyond that. And for him to ask that question, it speaks directly to a struggle that you previously had in your relationship that you
Yes.
thought you were past.
We thought we were past. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
get that. I mean, I think that's like I get that. I think that's
Mhm.
fair. I think that's a fair observation, and that would be a fair rebuttal. You know, like, I thought we was past this shit. Like, you still bringing this up? You still talking about it? What's
Mhm.
going on? Why are you questioning? And again, I think most of it, even this, I don't think that this is like a one question, one answer deal. Like, I think
Exactly.
that it should just be a conversation. Why do
Yes.
you feel like you need it? Why do you feel like you feel insecure? You feel like this is just something you need to get done? Or what are
Right.
your reasons for this? You
Mhm.
know, and it may be that in and of itself will allay a lot of the anger or distrust that you have. If he can articulate it like, look, you know, it's just something that's always bothered me, or I always said that if I had a child, this is one of the things I would do, because I had a friend, like maybe he's got a story. I got a
Yeah.
friend and he had, like, you know, he raised a child and it broke his heart, because like
Mhm.
that would be that to me, that would be a thing. And like I said, I just think that in some of these situations, the guy's opinion or guy's feelings a lot of times get overlooked.
They do get overlooked. And I
Yeah.
think that's where the communication getting high key getting in bed with somebody, but you know,
Mm.
I don't judge. I've done my due in the day. So there's no judgment here. But there
Right.
are conversations that need to happen, especially if you're thinking long term with someone. There are
Right.
conversations that should just happen. I know for me and my husband, we had those discussions of like, is this something, would you want to get a DNA test? Like, I don't mind, but he said no. So, if he brings it up now, then it's just like, all right.
Right.
Like,
You going
what do
back
we do?
on your word play. We talked about
Right.
this.
We
had an agreement. There was an accord.
But then, I know that, if for him in particular, he feels things very, he's very empathetic. So if one of his friends was going through a situation like that, where they found out that they weren't the daddy or whatever, I would have some expectation that he would be like, I can't believe this. And now everybody on punishment. So everybody got to get a DNA test. So
everybody cutting up. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody paying.
So it depends on you and whoever you decide to lie with. But like you said, we do discount men's like emotions and feelings and thoughts in those kind of in general, but specifically when it comes to that, they do get discounted, which isn't fair to them, especially if they're gonna be paying child support, if they're gonna be putting in a lot of emotional support and love. They should get a say, or at least have the knowledge if they want it.
Right.
If they don't want it, okay, by all means.
Yeah. I mean, you take it as you get it. If you find out later it ain't yours, you made the choice, bro.
Right. This was all you, and I.
Right. You rolled your bones and you lost. That's all it is. But I will say, like, it does speak volumes. And again, I don't want to be the person who's sitting up here trying to slut shame people or, make fun of people's, freakadeek or, they freak side. But at the end of the day, bro, if you're in a situation where there are two or more people, and I say two or more people who potentially could be this child's parent, you owe it to yourself and your partner or partners to be honest about it. You know what I mean? Just be honest about it. Like, look, I like you. I think you're big, you're strong, you're smart, but there might be somebody else who's the father. And it's just because again, going back to what I was saying before, there's going to be a lot of people who are hurt by that secret that you keep. Your child, the man that you are keeping the secret from, the potential father, and then of course the biological father. And again, this is one of the things that I really wanted to kind of centralize on, is that the biological father who is unaware that they have a child, I think that they're kind of the hidden victim in a lot of these situations, because nobody ever talks about that person. They always talk about the child as a burden or financial responsibility, but they don't talk about it as an exciting experience that you're missing out on. Like I would, and for those who are curious, nobody's ever come to my house and said that you the daddy. That's not a thing that's ever happened. But that shit would bother me. Like it would bother. Like I can't express enough like how genuinely that shit would bother me if I had a child out there and I didn't know I had a child out there. Especially if that child needed me for whatever reason and I wasn't there for it.
I came in late, so I don't know what. I know what the topic is, but I don't know what like spurred the topic. But have you ever watched Paternity Court? Like the show Paternity Court? Yes. Okay. I didn't know if that's where the subject came from, but like I feel like my mom loves it. So whenever I'm over at my parents' house, that's what we watch.
Right.
And it is heartbreaking to see on both sides. You have the man who has been in this child's life, assuming that he is the father, doing everything, loving on this child for even if the baby is only like 2 months old. They've established that bond together, and the hurt that he feels when it turns out not to be his child.
Right.
And then on the other side, you have the guy who, there are some episodes where the woman, she didn't like that guy. Like she didn't like that man. She didn't want that man to be the child's father. So she just didn't tell him because it wasn't her pick.
Right.
And then you know, because it wasn't her pick, now he's missed out on time with the child. And you're just
Right.
like, this is all a whole mess. It's
Yeah.
all a whole mess. And quiet as it's kept, a baby is not the worst thing that can come out of, you know, everybody just being willy-nilly. So that's also where it's just like, you know, you got to be safe out here.
Yeah. Yeah. And quiet is kept, you know, as a rule of thumb, because Mother Nature is Mother Nature. It's always going to be the guy you don't want to be the father. It's going to be the damn father. 100%
Every
of the time.
Every time.
He's going to be the daddy. Oh, he deadbeat ass. Yup, daddy. I said,
every time.
Yeah. Oh, this guy just hit the lotto, and he's a scientist, a lawyer, a doctor, and he's going to be an astronaut. He's totally not the father. There's no way he's
absolutely
the father.
not. Can't
He's
be.
handsome, and yeah, I can see myself marrying him. Nope.
His sperm count was low that day.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
It's
right.
not.
This
It's just
dude
not
is shooting
happening.
dust, and this other guy, he's a fucking Mount Kilimanjaro blowing your ass out. So no. Hey, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But the only thing I disagree with, like a paternity court, they always kind of jump on the bandwagon of giving bad legal advice, because the judge will say things like, well, if this is your baby, you think there's a possibility it should be your baby, you should take responsibility of this child until you find out it's not. That's absolutely what you do not do. And then and part of the problem I have with that is that because some of the laws are written the way they are, it actually discourages men from stepping up being fathers until they actually know. Because if they do step up and be fathers, they're financially on the hook.
Then they're stuck with it. Yeah.
Right. And so, especially depending on how long it takes them to get down there and get the damn blood test, to get the DNA, get Dana to come through and save the day. So
maybe it should be mandatory, but I feel like that would be more like a legal situation. Like me and my husband, we have to legally get a DNA test. He can't ask me for one.
Right.
But you know, if that's the law, we just gonna do it. That's
your
fine.
father-in-law, yeah.
Yeah. We ain't no hardened criminals over here. But
you're not scofflaws.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
But you're not asking that.
But thank you so much for calling in, Brittany. I appreciate you.
Of course. I will see you in the chat.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye.
Bye. Awesome call. Brittany, not Brittany in the house. She said, if you ask me, you done messed up, player. You gonna ride that for the rest of your days. I'm telling you, it'd be a day 30th wedding anniversary. It's gonna get brought up. Remember when you asked me for that test? Baby, why you keep bringing that shit up? You know, I'm sorry. How many times I gotta apologize? Not enough. But I appreciate what she was saying, because like I said, I don't think that when it comes to a lot of this stuff, there's no hard, fast answer. We like to pretend that there is, like, you absolutely must get a test every time, you know, no matter what happens, to hell with them. But I think that you have to take into account what your situation is, what your relationship is, who you're in a relationship with, the character of that person. Hopefully you pick people who are quality people from the beginning, so that way some of these questions don't necessarily pop up. If you know each other well enough, you've been with each other long enough, that kind of thing, before you start trying to hit that copy button and make folks. But if there's ever a question, Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, and they're online, you can get DNA tests and you can have your questions answered. You know, it's better if this is something that you need to know, you can get, like, just, if you don't watch your kids, like, what kind of man don't watch his kids? If I wanted to get a DNA test, I had ample opportunity to just swab a child's mouth, because I had them and I watched them. I'm a parent. I technically I don't watch my kids. I'm being a parent to my children. So I'm alone with them. I mean, I'm the one putting them down for naps and stuff. So yeah, we can swab a cheek before they go to sleep. You see how I did that? swab a cheek before they go to sleep. I mean, take my test, swab my mouth. Go in there and get a little hair off a brush or something, put that in an envelope, send that off. You'll have your answer. And then, like I said, I don't know how long it take, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever. You can have the opportunity to ruin Christmas. What is this? Yeah. What is this? But that's my take, guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm trying to keep them a little more, the lives a little more compact, a little more fancy free, a little more streamlined so we can get them in, get them out. We can hopefully invite more people in. Again, we're going to start transitioning over to the other channel for the lives where a lot of the polls and things will be. You might still be able to watch. I think I'm going to set it up so you can still watch from My Take on Reality, but a lot of the polls and other like fun stuff will be over at the other one. So make sure you go to that channel, hit subscribe, ring the bell over at that channel so that way you get notified when I go live. Yeah, I don't know with Sister Wives. I think Sister Wives is coming up in September, and I'm not sure which day I'm going to fall. I'm going to do my Sister Wives review. So make sure you just subscribe to both channels so that way you don't miss anything. All right, but let me give a shout out to Elizabeth's mama, Brittany Not Brittany, and Jody Pierce Scholar for the super chats. Appreciate you so much. Thank you to the Mega Mod Squad. Let me give you guys a little something, something. Mega Mod Squad, Brittany Not Brittany, Lizzie B, and Carmel Cuties in the house. What? And I also want to, here we like to do the what I call Hearts in the Channel, Hearts in the Chat. This is just a segment where we show support for one another because I think that that's critical. That sometimes people are going through things, and we just want to just let folks know that I don't need to know what you're going through, what your struggles are. Just know that I got your back, and I'm pulling for you, and I hope the best for you. So let's put some hearts in the chat for all the individuals who need that support and maybe they haven't let us know. In addition, we had some people who did send in requests for hearts in the chat, and I want to read those people's names off. If you guys want to be included in that, please let me know. You can send me an email at mytakeonrealityquestions@gmail.com, and we can include you in this as well. But we have Jody Pierce Scala, Carmel Cuties, Megatron, Miss Betty Wood, Kathy Ferran, Allison Gaines, Marlo Peterson, and team Ty and Lit Mom. Okay, keep those guys in your thoughts and send them some hearts, and I'd appreciate it. Let me throw some hearts in the chat as well. Hold on 1 second. Because that's what I do. Thank you guys so much. But that's my take, guys. And we'll start progressing with hopefully videos like this. I'm going to do some shorter videos that I'll put on My Take on Reality. And we're going to have a good time. All right. Go moving past Sister Wives a little bit, talking about some more things. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're enjoying the content and stuff we're talking about. Share the stuff, hype the videos, all that good stuff. I appreciate you. But until next time, we'll be back on Thursday. We'll be doing a Speak Pipe show. If you have a Speak Pipe message, go ahead and leave it at speakpipe.com/mytakeonreality. I'd appreciate it. That way we have a full show. And thank you guys so much. That's my take. I'm James. And this has been My Take on Reality. And I'm